Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 7:56 a.m. and you're watching Aurora Weather here on Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. We're also watching Aurora Weather. Once again, this weather comes from the National Weather Service of Chicago, delivered to you here on Good Morning, Aurora and Aurora Weather. Periods of low visibility possible is what our headline is today, right up there. Fog is expected through tonight. I like fog, but fog does pose some challenges for us as travelers. Let's talk about it. What to expect? Periods of dense fog. Visibility at under a half a mile at times. Going through tonight and area wide. Now, what you should expect. Be prepared for extra travel time. We've seen that with our weather and climates over the past couple of weeks now, from everything from crazy snow and sleet to slippery conditions on the road. Slow down, increase following distance, and use low beam headlights. Don't be all up on the guy in front of you, and don't be in his rear view with your brights on. That's not cool at all. And also don't fall too close. If you have to hit the brakes, you may slide in and cause an accident. Let's do weather 2 now. All right. Earlier rain adds runoff to snow melt. Be alert for flooding near rivers, streams, creeks, and poor drainage areas. Now, this map, as you can see here, has a lot of great cities, but it also details flooding potential, minor flooding, and no forecast available for any flooding at all. Now, key messages. Additional runoff is occurring due to overnight rains. So what does that mean? It rained overnight. The snow that we had is starting to just go out there and be runny, mixing it with different oils and chemicals on the streets that also could provide for slick surfaces. Warmer temperatures have begun to melt snowpack, as we just talked about. Flooding is possible along areas, creeks, streams, and poor drainage areas over the next several days. Ice jams and shifting of ice is possible. Now, what does that mean? For our bridges, if the ice has been compacted for quite some time, it hasn't been moving. However, with warmer temperatures, that ice starts to crack, melt, and then you got the big chunks, right? They're doing their thing. They're just going down and aimlessly floating. That's shifting ice and the breaking up of ice jams. What you should do, I'm glad you asked, monitor the latest forecast updates. You're doing that. Be prepared to take action and protect property. So again, this really applies if you are in our rural areas. Now that's weather 2. Let's do weather 3 and the forecast. This is the part that I know so many of you love. This is the part that so many of you really get delight out of because you like to be ready. You like to be prepared. And also, we'll talk about your chance to come do this. But first of all, today, what can we expect? Daytime high 41 degrees, daytime low of 36 degrees. Light rain and fog, which we just detailed. Take those precautions to heart. Once again, this weather comes from the National Weather Service of Chicago, delivered to you here on Good Morning Aurora and Aurora Weather, the second largest city's first daily news podcast, the second largest city's first daily weather report, respectively. Tonight, 35 degrees for the nighttime high, 33 degrees for the nighttime low. Evening showers take us into Saturday. Cloudy, no sun, but no showers as well. 41 degrees for the daytime high, 37 degrees for the daytime low tonight, or excuse me, Saturday night. 35 degrees for the nighttime high, 32 degrees for the nighttime low. The rain comes back in the evening time on Saturday, bringing us into Sunday. No more rain, also no snow and no sunshine, so it will be cloudy. 40 degrees for the daytime high on Sunday, 36 degrees for the daytime low on Sunday. Sunday night, 32 degrees for the nighttime high, 26 degrees for the nighttime low on Sunday night. Monday, 42 degrees for the daytime high, 37 degrees for the daytime low. The slim potential for sun does greet us on Monday. Looks like it'll be mostly cloudy. Going into Monday night, 34 degrees for the nighttime high, 32 degrees for the nighttime low. We also see the potential chance for rain on Monday night. Tuesday, 42 degrees for the daytime high, 38 degrees for the daytime low on Tuesday. Morning rain, no sun, cloudy, rainy. Going into Tuesday night, the rain leaves us. 32 degrees for the nighttime high, 29 degrees for the nighttime low on Tuesday night. Let's recap. First of all, there's only one day of sun coming up, and that's going to be Monday of next week. So be prepared for just dreariness, okay? Today, 41 degrees for the daytime high, 36 degrees for the daytime low. Rain, light, dense fog all through the daytime today. Tomorrow, 41 degrees for the daytime high, 37 degrees for the daytime low. Sunday, 40 degrees for the daytime high, 36 degrees for the daytime low. Monday, next week, starting it off the 29th, 42 degrees for the daytime high, 37 degrees for the daytime low. The slim margin and potential for sun does exist. We will celebrate if that happens. Tuesday, 42 degrees for the daytime high, 38 degrees for the daytime low. That is your weather report here on Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Now, it's Friday, so you know what that means. Our Google Voice number is 331-256-7782. Today is Trivia Friday, so we'll hit them with the trivia. Bing, bing. Yes, GMA Friday Trivia is happening today. We have a great trivia question for you and your chance to win a weather report like I just did. It could be you. Tune in today for your chance to win hashtag Aurora weather presentation. Now, here's the thing. We're going to detail the very cool question later on in the news portion at the 8:30 portion of the show. So be sure to tune into that. And one more time with the number, if we could, Alex. And once again, text us on Google Voice, 331-256-7782. The first person to text the correct answer of today's trivia show will win. Get ready for a great show. We out. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 8:05 a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It is Friday, the 26th of January. The first month in a brand new year is about to close. And I know, like myself and yourself, and even with my guest today, I know that we're all in one accord when we say we want to see the best for our city and the best for all the households and the people in Aurora. So I hope that you also woke up in a positive, motivated, and blessed spirit to kick all of the butt we need to in a healthy fashion to save the world or try our very best. My guest today is Stephen Thompson.
Good morning.
Of the Cottonseed Creative Exchange. You wear many hats, sir. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the project management event, which is coming up on the 29th, 6 p.m. at Cottonseed Creative Exchange, located at 64 South River Street.
Yes, sir.
So before we go any further, how are you feeling today?
I'm blessed, man. I'm feeling real good. I got my second cup of coffee in the flow, and I'm feeling good, man.
Shout out Keurig and Kirkland.
For sure. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I don't know what life would be without a Keurig at this point. So
right. So we got a lot to talk about, and for those who are unfamiliar, start off by telling us, what is the Cottonseed Creative Exchange? Where is it located? We love the hoodie, the sweater that you got on. So tell us about it.
Yeah, no, we got to represent. So the Cottonseed is a unique storefront, and I like to term the Cottonseed as, it is a collective of creative individuals. What we've done is we've brought together individuals who, they have a passion. A lot of times what you find is like the people that work the 9 to 5s, that's what they do, but that's not necessarily their passion. And what we've tried to showcase is people's passion. I like to term them as like superheroes. Mm-hmm. Really, this is their superpower, right? This is, the Clark Kent is what goes to work.
Right.
This is the superpower that they don't have anybody to tell, like, look, this is what I really like, So
right.
you got directors, you got police officers, you got firemen, these are the people, and I'm not saying they don't enjoy what they're doing, but this is what really drives them behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
And we just show it and just put it out there for people to see, so we try to source anywhere from 80% of the stores, just local individuals or creative individuals that, this is what they do.
Right.
And we just put it together in an environment that is welcoming and it's a vibe, you know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
You go in, we like, 90s. I grew up in the 90s and the 80s and things like that. So the music that you get in there, you get a little taste of that. You get some different flavors and I mean, and
you can also buy vinyl in there too.
You can buy vinyl, yeah. And maybe not as much as we once had, but I mean it's just a little bit of everything, and it's just it's a unique experience all in all. So,
right. And want to also say shout out to Yvonne.
Absolutely.
Good morning. Cottonseed Creative Exchange is in the chat. We appreciate that very, very much. And the Thompson family.
For sure.
Absolutely, man. So this is a special episode because there's an element to today's discussion that we're going to be talking about that's very important. So we're talking about a project management event. Once again, it's going to be on the 29th at the Cottonseed Creative Exchange, so on Monday, 6 p.m. But what we're going to do is we're going to pick Steven's brain live on television and ask him to give us some basic tips, some basic principles in regards to project management and how to grow, operate, and manage one's business and different things. So it's 8:10 a.m. Before we get into that, good morning, Luz Elena Brambella Guerrero, Saul Olivas, Anita Lewis. Good morning to all of our dear friends, and good morning to all of you great people. Saul asks, "How are you doing?" Saul, I'm doing good today. My cup runneth over, very much so. 8:10's the time. So the event is going to be 6 p.m. on Monday. Folks can register online. Go to the Cottonseed's Facebook page or the website, right?
Right, yep.
Okay. Detail us about the event. What's going to be taking place, and how's it going to start off?
So, I mean, really what I wanted to do is, I don't necessarily want to do just a PowerPoint and drive it. I want to highlight some of the things that, as an entrepreneur as well, I run into on both sides. So, I work the corporate world, but I also work, the entrepreneur piece. And there are elements that, as a small business owner, you don't have the luxuries of having resources.
Right.
To a sense of, here's $1 million that you go run this project with.
Right.
Here's creativity and shoestring budgets, and you need to figure that out. And that's what it comes down to, and how you operate in that element with project prowess, and I would say just to be strategic and to be mindful of how you get things done, without this major support of a large corporation.
Right. As we talked about beforehand, so the history of the show is very much tied into Cottonseed Creative Exchange. For many people who do know, I used to run an escape room for many years. And what you're talking about is so true. We were not franchised. There was no HR. There is no national headquarters with which to get something if it broke or fixed, and also how to keep things going, maintain the hours, hire new staff. All of that is a It could be the difference between making or breaking a person.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the piece that, when you step into the entrepreneur, I guess the role, a lot of people are like, man, I'm going to have a business. And then you jump in the role, you're like, I have a business. And there's a lot of things that I didn't realize I have to do now,
right.
And you got all these hats and you're transitioning. And I think that's the piece where if you don't have a sound plan, things become very chaotic. And to your point, yeah, I mean, it can literally, if you don't do it right, or if you get a project or you get a job and you mess it up, right, that could be your money.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one thing to mess up at work,
right?
But it's one thing to mess up the project, and that project be your business, or that project be, I mean, even if the project is grandiose at work, it could be, that's different. So it's called project management for a reason.
Correct.
Time is 8:13. So with the experience of the cottonseed, now the cottonseed has been around, or it's 5 years.
So we actually opened up in 2019.
Okay, in 2019. Now in 2019, since 2019, what would you identify, omitting COVID, what were two of the biggest challenges that you guys had from 2019 to now?
I would say it's exposure, and it's a very good question, and understanding, and not to omit COVID, and I know, but it's because COVID was more than just a time frame that stopped. Right. It is the residual of, the fallout of things, so we actually changed locations, and that in itself, having one location, having another location, it's like, oh,
right,
they got lost in COVID.
Right.
We did it.
You did not, right.
We changed locations.
Because you guys had been established at that location, and that was Broadway.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. So that exposure, and then the changing of location.
Change of location has been a piece, and I mean, there's other smaller elements and things like that, but it's it's business, It's you fight the fight every day, and you figure out what's the next thing that you can do to grow this brainchild of yours that existed nowhere before you thought it up. So
I wonder too, as I sit here and talk to you, those two things I can relate to on a smaller scale. In 2019, we were not established, but when we were birthed, exposure and location were two persistent issues that we had. So with that being said, since the pandemic, our exposure and location is not a problem anymore.
Right.
How is the exposure going?
You know what? I like it. There's a lot of opportunity. And as the Cottonseed, we have reinvented ourselves. I would say a few times, because we started more. We used to do like painted furniture.
I remember.
And I mean, that at times we still do. Actually, we just did one just because it was like, man, this is really cool. I was cleaning out storage. I was like, hey, we still got this hutch, and my wife, she threw down on this piece, and it kind of brought us back to the things that was driving us at the time, and it's like, it's continuing to reinvent yourself, because I would say I never really knew what exactly was going to happen. We just, this is an opportunity. Let's take it. Let's try. Let's see what happens, and that's where we went. So, it's I don't know. Did I answer that question or?
No, you did. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and again, what you and I are talking about, and we're talking about the project management event on the 29th again for the folks, but also we're talking about the principles of business and what we need to do. And then the Cottonseed Creative Exchange is a great way to learn and a great example of it, because I've personally seen you guys and the story since So I can,
Sure.
it feels good to attest to it. Yeah.
This is the behind the scenes. A lot of
Yep.
people don't really know.
All right. The time is 8:17 a.m. You are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Our guest today is Mr. Stephen Thompson of the Cottonseed Creative Exchange, talking to us about the great event coming up on the 29th. It's also Trivia Day. We got a trivia question for you at the second half, 8:30 a.m. Aisha Saxon, good morning to you. Ryan Carney, good morning to you, sir. Good morning, Aurora, and all the Aurorians out there. Glad to see you. So now the Cottonseed Creative Exchange is established at 64 South Broadway. And when it comes to this project management event, I've registered. I'm signing up to go there.
Yeah.
Okay. What else are we going to be talking about besides the planning?
So I think one thing to establish is really, project management has multiple elements, and it takes on even more when you have to play the role of the CEO as well, or a business owner, because you have to think beyond just the project. And even in larger organizations and larger corporations, one of the things that I see that is missed a lot is how the work that you do ties to the goals that you actually have. Mm-hmm. And I've seen a lot of money get thrown on projects that really don't strategically tie into what you're trying to do.
Right.
And then come to find out, you're like, man, we're done with this project, and it gets shelved because it really wasn't ever relevant. And I think that's part of the element. So you need to understand, or what I like to do is just tie in the goals of the business itself, and making sure that prioritization is always at the forefront of what you do, mm-hmm. right? Because if you can prioritize, this is my goal, I want to make $10,000 a month, or whatever the case may be, the work that you do, how is that tying into your goal?
Right.
And then you work it backwards, and then you can see, all right, the work that I'm doing is contributing, right? This is moving the needle for us. So it's not only just the planning, but it's the strategy behind the planning. It's the breakout of the plan, and it's the execution of it, and then finalizing, because not every project is perfect. Not every project is great, Right. And I think one of the things that is so essential for any, just project manager, but overall for anybody, because I can honestly say that everybody runs projects, mm-hmm. whether you do it well or not. I mean, it's that's the piece, and it maybe it's not even well. It's whether you have understanding of how you can be efficient, right, and that's what it is. So you go through the plan, you go through the execution of it, and not getting lost in all the little small pieces, and that's really what we're looking. Let me show you some efficient processes that you can keep tabs on, and at the end of the day, when you've either done the project well or not, you can reflect and say, all right, well, what can I do better? What did I do good? And what did I learn? What did I take away from this?
Right.
And really, at the end of the day, that's how you continue to build, on any business, right? I mean, did we do well this month?
Right.
What can we do better? What should we never do again?
Exactly.
Or talk about?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, let's not talk about that.
Right. Exactly.
Because
yeah.
it was embarrassing, but it was a lesson learned.
Right.
Right. And that's really it. I mean, there's many ways to approach project management. I've been in a lot of different organizations, and I've worn a lot of different titles, but they all are kind of the same.
Right.
So it's like, I'm an engineering manager, I'm a delivery manager, I'm a project manager, I'm a program manager, I'm a scrum master. So it's like, but they all want the same thing. They want this thing at the end to be done right.
Right.
So that their money is not wasted.
I listen to you talk, and I'm reminded that for so many people, I think, and so many failed, not even just failed businesses, failed ideas, failed aspirations. There's a big chunk of it due to the fact that people didn't have a plan, and when they either started to formulate one, or the idea started to gain traction, or they started trying to do the things, the first sign of adversity or the first challenge may have knocked them off their horse, and they never got back on it. And I think about all the people I've met and the ideas I've heard and things like that, some made it to fruition, some didn't.
Sure.
So in your planning, you have to be fluid. You should have a plan. You should have goals.
Sure.
But you should also know that, like, I may have to navigate I may have to reinvent myself.
That's a great point.
Like, you know, the Curtis of Good Morning Aurora knew what he wanted.
Sure.
But the reinventing to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, to be a pilot, you have to meet the bar. The bar doesn't get lower for
right,
you.
No, that's right. you
like,
still have to push to that level.
Yeah, I mean, and for the veterans who watch the show too, Ali Hernandez, United States Marine Corps. I mean,
thank you for your service.
You're not going to advance if you can't do this.
That's right.
So,
yeah, no, I mean that's a really good that's a good call out, and I think there was a saying. I think Mike Tyson said it. He said everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And that's
yes, sir.
That's
yes,
absolutely
sir.
correct. You know, and in every project that you
yes,
have,
sir.
and every thought that you have, and we can just keep it on a line of not necessarily just entrepreneurs, but any idea that you had, and I'll kind of align with that. We have this vision in our mind on how things are going to be.
Right.
What I would say an epiphany that really helped me was to say that anything that I thought about was anywhere from 3 to 5 times harder than I thought it was going to be. So you have to also incorporate that into the project planning, and there's elements in that where you have to do risks and issues. I mean, as you're going through a project, you should be calling out the risk prior to,
right.
because we don't know what we don't know, so things are going to happen regardless.
Right.
But for the things that could potentially happen, let's say we run out of money, or let's say, the lights go off for whatever reason, and you still have to function as a business.
Right.
How do you get around that? So you have plans on top of those risks.
Absolutely. Thank
right?
you.
And,
God, yes, right.
And we call that, risk mitigation, but it's really just worst case scenario. What are we going to do?
Absolutely. Right? Yes.
But then you have those things, you got the known knowns and you got the known unknowns.
Right.
And then you got the things you didn't even realize were there, like COVID, that you could have never imagined that. Oh,
exactly.
This pandemic is gonna wipe everybody out. I mean, and in a day, your business goes from wide open, people coming in, to closed, and the only way that you can interact or people want to interact with you is to run this thing out with a mask on, gloves, and give it to them in a bag and say, "Have a great day,
right.
Be safe." Right? And so, how do you function in those times when, like you said, that idea becomes challenged, and the adversity that you never really thought about is here. What's the decision that you make, right?
Right.
And it really comes down to just kind of what I said. It's the goal that you have. And I tell this to my I've told this to my kids at least once. Let me take a sip of coffee.
Oh no, let's do that. This is ready.
Thank you, Keurig. When you actually have something in mind, it's not necessarily, the how, because you can plan all day. I mean, that's the reality. But if I would say, all right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to walk over there and touch that wall. Right.
Right.
And this is the distinction. Versus, I want you to walk in a straight line. Now, what I would do for my kids is I said, I want you to walk over there and touch that wall, and I'd step in front of them, and they'd step around me.
Mm-hmm.
But if I told them to walk in a straight line and I stepped in front of them, they would say, "You're in my way." And the distinction is you have to have the right goal and the right drive, because if you don't understand the reason why you're driving, when these things come, you don't step around them.
Right.
You just get stuck.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's really the analogy, but that's the reality.
People need the you got to have the vision though to see that too.
Yes.
You have to be able to, you got to be able to see when the perfect vision would be able to see the log jam forming before you get to it. Not everybody has that kind of discernment, but you need to be able to see that when what you're doing is either obsolete or if it has no future, or I'm doing it this way now, but here comes this. So is it gonna, right? Is it gonna go past me? Am I gonna be able to duck? It's so much of that. Yeah. And I think it's reflective of the human. I think it's reflective of the person though to be so cautious that when that adversity does come in the way, whatever it looks like, to fold it up or pause or just hold on kind of thing. And you got to be able to identify what you should do in that moment. You have to know, like, is this a fight or flight moment, or is it a, what can we do about this? For us, for us, it came different though. Like for example, if the internet goes out, that's it. So for us it was I'm glad you said right. I found a setting which will allow me to continue recording and that came after a few failures. Yeah. People like, hey, the show dropped. Is everything all right? And I'm like, oh, the internet went out. When we didn't have secure foundations.
Right. I get it.
But again, it happened once. It happened twice. And then I realized there's a setting here where I can just, the thing will keep recording.
Okay.
So even if it drops, I can just post the whole thing at
there you go. And that's the reflection part. That's the piece, and it's also part of being present. So you mentioned two things, right? It's identifying the issues as they come and trying to work logically through them. But when you see things, when you're done solving things, and I think this is a thing that a lot of people won't necessarily take the time to do. When you're done solving that, reflect on it.
Right.
And especially for small businesses, you should try to avoid making the same mistake more than once.
Absolutely.
Because it's pricey.
Right.
If so, and that should be that lesson learned, and the way that you are you're kind of housing these things, and when you start to find challenges, you should also reflect on those previous lessons learned.
Yep.
Like, hey, what happened then?
Right.
But maybe we should consider, and how do we actually approach the problem?
Right.
To solve it. That worked before when we actually just like stopped and just let's come together, let's brainstorm, or let's pull some different resources in and let's see if we can get around it. And a lot of people, especially if they're just, it's a solopreneurship or something like that, they don't necessarily have the team, but themselves. You still need to reflect,
Time is 8:30 a.m. We are going to go to a commercial right now. We're having a great discussion with Mr. Stephen Thompson of the Cottonseed Creative Exchange, talking about the event January 29th. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Imagine what's possible when a city makes an unprecedented investment, a commitment that reshapes a city's landscape forever, that equalizes economic opportunity, elevates education for all, empowers businesses, inspires collaboration between institutions, improves public services, and enhances the lives of every resident. Now, imagine that city is ours. We know it's possible because other cities have done it. Places like Longmont, Colorado, a community that leveraged its investment in municipal electricity and upgraded its substations to create a 17-mile fiber loop, delivering critical connectivity to the city's institutions, organizations, and small businesses, achieving an incredibly high adoption rate. And in Pharr, Texas, a border town of 80,000, voted the least connected city in America, invested in 700 miles of fiber, delivering broadband managed services that are enriching residents' lives. Cities, towns, and regions are stepping up all over America. There is no question that Aurora can and deserves to be America's next great smart city. But it's up to us. We have a responsibility we can't ignore to see everyone living in our city, regardless of economic status, having broadband services that are simple, efficient, safe, and powerful. Imagine children having safe internet access anywhere, never needing to connect outside of a fast food restaurant. Imagine every building in every neighborhood and retail outlet, new and old, modernized, intuitive, secure. Imagine exciting subscribers with the ultimate broadband experience and giving parents control over all of it. Imagine deploying cyberbullying protection that notifies parents throughout Aurora that their kids are being bullied and providing resources to protect them. Imagine a city with first responders seamlessly connected and with safer public spaces. Can you see this smart city? Can you see our future? We do. Aurora is ready for world-class connection that serves our residents, that helps businesses grow and unifies our community. Let's take this opportunity to give all of our residents, businesses, and community organizations the advantages that come with unrivaled broadband infrastructure and services. Let's come together and deliver a world where digital equity creates a city that is smarter, safer, and sustainable for generations to come.
We can make it happen together. You are back watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It is 8:34 a.m. Our guest today is Mr. Stephen Thompson of the Cottonseed Creative Exchange. Now we are going to do the news for you guys, and then we're also going to debut today's fun trivia question. Don't forget that the trivia question is a way for you to win your own weather report. That's right. You come here and you do the weather. I'm not even in it. Tracy Duran has done the weather. It was awesome. The last winner that we had was Mr. Daniel C. Daniel C. has been contacted, and he's got a date coming up as well, so you'll see him doing the weather for you guys. First things first, on the screen for you guys is the City of Aurora's Affordable Housing Study, and the survey is still live. It's live until the 23rd of next month, so please go online. Fill it out. It takes about 3 minutes. It's very easy to do. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. The questions contained and the plan that's detailed is going to fuel Aurora housing initiatives for the next 10 years. So it's very important. Things like home ownership, affordable housing, renting, and so many other topics. So once again, the link is live. Please fill out the survey. It's on our Facebook page as well as been shared to other social media sites, including Threads. We also have a Threads. If you guys got Instagram, hit us up on Threads. All right. Next up, scholarships are coming to an end. The 31st of this month is the last time for you to apply for a scholarship if you are college bound. Our friends at the Community Foundation of the Fox River Valley at www.cffrv.org have applications for you. Go ahead and fill it out. It's also in English and Spanish. They do a whole lot for the community. Remember, the 31st of this month is the deadline. Next up, we've got telehealth. Our friends of Ellie Mental Health, excuse me, here in Aurora have telehealth options available for you guys. They are open. 630-394-1379 is the number that you need. Get to know Ellie Mental Health. They're new in Aurora, but the work they've been doing has been going on for quite some time. So call them, set up an appointment, and let them know that you heard about it here on Good Morning Aurora. All right. Next up, the Legacy of Excellence event is going to take place at Fox Valley Mall, and this is presented by many great people and organizations like Make That Trail Face, Banana Pudding Twist, music, food, entertainment, and a celebration of African American history and culture will be taking place at the Fox Valley Mall. Once again, it's going to be on February 10th. So come on out for this event. It's going to be a very fun time. I will be there in the flesh, noon to 4 p.m., doing my thing, capture media, maybe getting some interviews. I mean, you never know. All right. Next up is the project management event that we're detailing here today with Mr. Stephen Thompson. This is going to take place at the Cottonseed Creative Exchange located at 64 South South River Street in Aurora, right next door to Wickwood House. Now, project management for small business is the topic, and it's going to begin at 6 p.m. from 6 to 8 p.m. In-person event. The QR code is there at the bottom right for you guys to scan. We'll also share this on our social media pages. Please register. Come on out to this event. You will not be disappointed. You can learn a lot from our dear friend, Mr. Stephen Thompson, right here. All right. And then next up, we've got the movie night coming. Our friends of Fresh Start City Church have this fun movie night event taking place. It's going to be at 10 South Lancaster. That's the corner of Lancaster and Galena on the west side. It's going to be March 2nd. A youth event. Snacks and beverages are provided for the kids. Youth movie night. So come on out. And if you're looking for a church home, Fresh Start City Church is looking for you. 10 South Lancaster, come as you are. The time is 8:38 a.m. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the trivia question now. We're going to start this. Now, real quick, Alex, can you give them the Google Voice number one more time, ladies and gentlemen? Our Google Voice number is 331-256-7782. 331-256-7782 is our Google Voice number. We got the phone lines open. You have to text us. Here's the thing. I'm going to give you guys the question in just a second. The first person to text the correct answer is going to be the winner. 331-256-7782 is the number that you need. Now, the question for today is, Crush with Eyeliner was included on what album by what band? Once again, the question of the day is, Crush with Eyeliner was included on what album by what band? If we can give them the number again one more time, Alex, the number for you to text your answer to is 331-256-7782. And one more time with the question, Alex, if we could. Crush with Eyeliner was included on what album by what band? I want the album and the band. All right, time is 8:39 a.m. Now, while you ponder on that, we're back with our friend, Mr. Stephen Thompson. Steve, where'd you grow up?
I grew up out here.
Okay.
I grew up in Aurora, in Naperville. That's really it, man. You know, so I went away for a few years, and I lived in Georgia.
Okay.
And you know, then I came back. This is where the family is, Chicago. You know, my parents are from Chicago. You know, and this is where I grew up.
All right. You attended a HBCU.
That's
correct.
Yep.
What was your college?
Clark Atlanta University.
Shout out,
That's
shout
it.
out,
Yeah,
shout out, man.
We were in the you know. So it was Clark. When I was there, Morehouse and Spelman were there, but there was a college that had closed. The name escapes me at the moment, but man, it was interesting as a young man to grow up. You know, and I say grow. This is where I was independent and growing. You know, there. So, very very amazing experience, man.
Okay. Very cool,
yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
Now, having that experience and being in Atlanta for some time and then coming back, was it difficult for you to transition? What was that like? And then also, you know, what year are we talking to?
So I went out there, I want to say 2003. And my memory, it doesn't serve me. My numbers, you know, I remember experiences, but numbers sometimes they're fleeting, right? You know, I came back here in 2007, but I mean, I was young. I had, you know, this is kind of when I had set out, try to do my own thing. Mm-hmm. You know, you know, I'm 22. I had purchased a house. You know, and I had just graduated out. You know, and I'm feeling myself, smelling myself, you know, and then you know, then life got into it, you know,
Right.
and tried to, you know, kind of derail me, and I think maybe this is where a lot of the stuff that I experience now, you know, just some of that foresight comes from. So ended up, you know, kind of lost my shirt. Had to tuck tail, come back,
yeah,
you know, and I mean that's
Yeah.
just to be transparent, you know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
I wish it was different.
Absolutely.
You know, I wish I could say, oh, you know, I just decided to up. No, I was basically whooped. And,
Absolutely.
You know, and I needed to come lick my wounds.
You
know,
do.
and,
Yes.
You know, but ended up here. But I mean, it was good, man. I mean, I ended up back here, and my wife, you know, and it just continued to build. But yeah, still got a lot of amazing people out there that I you know, Arnetta, you know, I don't know if you're obviously not watching at the moment, but you know, but I mean, it's just so many amazing connections. I think that was probably one of the hardest things to transition.
Sure.
Was, you know, I had a business to establish out there. I had to close that down. People that I love dearly out there had to step away. You know, and actually, my cousin at the time was fighting. You know, her battle with cancer. You know, so it was a lot of chaos at the time. But it was, you know, it was a direction that my 24-year-old self thought it was best, and I ended up here, and then you know, just kind of grown from here, and you know, I think I came back here and I was working like a 7 or 8 hour $1 an hour job, and it was rough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was humbling, right? Because I was out here like, you know, I'm smart. I thought, you know, I know stuff. I don't know nothing, man. So, you know, a couple of humbling experiences, and then I ended up back here and just started to grow, you know, and get into the corporate world and get into entrepreneurship again. And, you know, it's been fun though. It's been life.
Would you say sometimes taking those personal L's will make you resilient in business?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you don't take it personal, and you know, because it's so easy to say, oh, I was a failure. You know, I did this. You know, and I remember a point. You know, and this is, you know, I'll put it out here because I mean, this is something that's real. This is when, you know, the housing was tanking. They were giving people loans and stuff like that. And so I came out here, but you know, I lost my house and everything. I mean, and so it was like, you know, I got to a point though, where I was just content with it. I was like, look, I can't stress out about this anymore. There's nothing more I can do, and you know, this is what it is. So how can I function as this is my new reality? You know, and I think a lot of people experienced that during COVID. How can I function? This is my new reality, and step forward. And that was probably one of the biggest takeaways that I learned. You know, and you know, I tell people all the time. I mean, the narratives that we tell ourselves in our head is you know, these are the stories that you're telling yourself. Like, oh, it's gonna do this, or what if? Like, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
You know, just be flexible enough to appreciate what it is, and then look at it for reality, as opposed to this grandiose thing. Oh, it's terrible.
Right.
I mean, COVID, people made a lot of money in COVID.
Mm-hmm.
People lost a lot of money in COVID. Just depending on your mindset and how flexible and creative you were, you could have gone in any direction.
Right. Yep.
You know?
Yeah, I had, you know, in life, I had taken what I thought was enough of a whooping and L, and looked at that as a failure, and then when I tried, as you know, my very first, and as Yvonne and Constance know, when I tried my very first crack at it, very first crack at trying a business, very first crack at trying to be independent, very first crack at, man, the corporate job. You know what? I can actually, there is a plan, a goal, and a vision here, and it failed. It failed so bad that I'm 37 on unemployment. Failure. And that's the kind of thing that'll make you not get back on the horse.
For sure.
If that's the kind of person you are.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, you have to, all of that,
yeah,
it makes me And I think this is the strength of the event that you guys got going on too. It makes me that much quicker to help somebody.
Sure. That's a good
People
point.
hit me up, yo, Curtis, you got an idea? Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We can meet
Yeah.
over coffee and chop it up.
Yeah.
And I think that that also helps you out too in business too, because a good businessman is a person who is not only knowledgeable but wise enough to help and share.
Yeah. No, that's deep, man, and I think that's right. You know, I think I mean, even, you know, we put titles on people, but a lot of people they assume titles without even actually getting the credit for it,
Right.
or the true title. I mean, you have leaders everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have people that you can go to. You don't realize that they're your source of you know, stability in times of chaos. And you wonder why you call them. It's because maybe they didn't tell you all their stories yet, you know?
Right.
And you wonder, wow, how are you so calm for right now?
Right.
You know, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know.
Right.
But I don't know.
I don't exactly.
But I'll be okay. And maybe that's the thought. A
Absolutely.
lot of times that you get through those things. And I mean, even with project management, it's the same way. It's like, you know, and I I laugh a lot of times because, you know, some of my teams, they'll be like, we got this big thing. And as a matter of fact, I was transitioning a large organization from one platform. You know, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars worth of, you know, data and information, and to another, and the team that's kind of working on these transitions, they're like, this is crazy, this is a lot. And at the end I said, I mean, it's gonna be fine.
Right.
You know why? Because you're smart enough to identify an issue when it comes up,
Mm-hmm.
and you have enough resources to be able to say, let's think through it.
Right.
Let's resolve the problem for what it is.
Right.
You know, not what it could be, you know. Think
Exactly.
through,
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
what it could be.
Yeah.
What it is.
What it is right now,
Is. We
you
are
know.
dealing with the current reality of the situation, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to hide it. You know, and that's I think it's one of the things I've heard so many times from different people and different things. I was telling a friend once upon so Tracy Duran is in the chat. Good morning, Tracy Duran. You know, Good Morning Aurora. Good Morning Aurora was a show for like 4 or 5, almost 6 months. Nobody was listening. Like there was no, there was
For sure.
no data.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
every day it was flat.
Yeah.
Every day. Every single day.
Yeah.
There was no day where nobody listened. From the morning to the night. When I went to sleep every night, I could wake up confidently knowing no person listened to anything I said.
You know what, man? And I think that's business though.
It
right?
is
And
business.
it's because it's no one else's idea. It's no one else's dream. It's no one else's thought. It's your thought.
Right.
You know. And not everybody gets it.
Right.
At first.
Right.
Until you start, you know, then you've kind of cut your teeth on things, and then it starts to become relevant, and then, you know, you start seeing different angles that you're like, well, what if I did this?
Right.
That'd be dope. What if I tried this?
Right.
You know, and then somebody says, hey, you saw that thing?
Right.
Or you heard about these people? And then, oh, now you know.
Yeah.
Oh, where'd you come? Overnight success. Like, look, man,
Bam. No.
this
It's
was
nothing
hard.
overnight. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like what you said. There's been, you know, there's been times we sit in the store like, or when I had my business, I was just waiting on somebody to call. I'm hungry. I need
Right.
to eat.
Please.
This is how I'm
Yeah.
eating. You know, this is
Yep.
when I was in Georgia, like, you know, and I was a handyman,
Mm-hmm.
right? Amongst other things. You got no clients. You got no food.
Right.
And what you gonna eat?
Right. Shorty can't eat them books, dog.
Can't eat those books. Go eat that degree. You know,
Right.
like what?
Yeah. Yeah. Go eat that.
Say this, you know, throw some
Yeah.
salt on there.
Yeah, no. I mean, people who we tell these stories to, and I told that story to, a lot of people, you know what their response has been when I've said that? They said, "Man, I would have quit."
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel like your boy in Troy, when the little kid ran up, he was on the horse. He was like, "Themistocles is out there. I wouldn't want to fight him." Like, that's why nobody remember your name.
That's right.
That's why nobody will remember you.
You know?
Brian David Smith, good morning to you. J.L. Harris, good morning to you, dear brother. Tracy Rand says perseverance is key. Even if you don't have the views, likes, and all at first, just keep moving and grooving. Right. It'll roll like crazy. Tracy Duran, yes, she did good with the weather. And Norma Peterson is here. Good morning. Citizen Police Academy applications are still being accepted. English and Spanish classes are being offered. See the Aurora, Illinois Police Department page for more information and the link to the online application. Josie Mendoza Geller, thank you very much for that. Jen Mendoza is here. Good morning to you as well. Now, here's the thing. It's 8:51 a.m. We are going to check the messages. Once again, here's the thing. You don't put no answer in the chat because the chat comes at different times for different people when they're typing. I can't get, but we did get a Google Voice text, and I'm going to read that and see if we do have a winner. Times 8:52. Real quick, if we could put the question back up there, let these folks know what the question was. The question was, Crush with Eyeliner was included on what album by what band? And the answer is REM is the band, and the album is Monster. And we did get a winner, and our winner is one M. Ortiz. M. Ortiz was the winner of that, so we're going to give you the clap. M. Ortiz was the winner. They got the album right, Monster, and the name of the band is REM. REM is the band who did probably my favorite song by them. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. Yeah, for sure. That's the jam. Yeah, that brings. I love that song. Okay, time is 8:53 a.m. M. Ortiz, we will be in contact with you to propose some dates to have you come in and do the weather. We look forward to it. Thank you for participating, and thank all of you guys for tuning in to the trivia. Now it's 8:53 a.m. Aisha Saxon, gentlemen, thank you for sharing your vulnerability. This is an uplifting conversation. You are all appreciated. M. Ortiz, she did that. Mariah Ortiz, the winner. Okay, so 8:53 is the time. Once again, the event's going to be Monday the 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Cotton Seed Creative Exchange located at 64 South River Street. Cotton Seed is a fantastic veteran-owned and African-American-owned business here in the city. It is a female-owned, wonderful place, and they have been an integral part of our story since we started. Now, here's the cool thing. I told this a little bit in some scuttlebutt with y'all, but the day before Good Morning Aurora started, the day before, I was on a Zoom with Steven here and his wife. And I was telling them a couple days before, I got this idea. Boom, boom, boom. It'll be a hell. And then I'll say this. And they was like, okay, that's cool. And Steven gave a presentation on a whiteboard, right? Yeah. It was a whiteboard with just some Sharpie. And we were chopping it up, us three. Because here's the thing that you have to understand. This is key. They had a brick and mortar. I had a brick and mortar. COVID came. They had to close down. We had to close down. The key difference, our brick and mortar was by the Fox Valley Mall. Mm-hmm. They were in downtown Aurora. They were retail. We were entertainment. That experience was formative because when talking to Steve and talking to Yvonne and thinking about plans, we lacked so much as an escape room at that time. We just lacked a few. We lacked some basic key business things that had we had them, we still would have closed. But however, perhaps we could have been a little bit stronger when the punch came. But anyway, when we were trying to continue, if you guys remember and go back, everything started going virtual. Aurora downtown, Marissa and all. Remember, it was virtual events. Hey, we having a virtual First Friday. Yeah. Tune into this business and that business and this business and that. They could tune into y'all, but they couldn't tune into me. Wasn't nothing to tune into. What was they gonna tune into?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and you know that's interesting that you brought that up, man, because I remember that.
Because we never envisioned a day where we wouldn't be able to be open. Disaster planning. You got to think about
as much, and you know what? Don't fault yourself, because I mean
no, not at all. Yep,
right.
Yep.
And that's the key, is because I mean at the end of the day, I mean, you know, maybe the takeaway is how you come together to problem solve at those times,
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
You know, as opposed to having the solution for the problem, it's how do we bring the right people or the right tools or the right resources in so that we have a better probability of solving, right?
Yep.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I remember, man, and I kind of miss it, because I had this. I made my wall,
wasn't it? It was
a
raw.
wall.
It was raw.
You know, I had this whole whiteboard of my wall, and I was like,
Dude.
look, I had an idea. I was like, Curtis, what if you know, and I mean the details aren't necessary, but you know, what if we tried this or this or this, you know, because we were both just trying to figure it out.
Hungry.
I mean, it was like,
Right.
look, I'm trying to go forward.
Exactly. We're
You
not
know,
stopping.
Nah. How do we continue to maintain? And I know there's so many businesses that would probably having those same exact conversations.
Yes.
Like, what do we do?
Exactly.
Like, what's the next step to make sure that we continue on? Because nobody really knew what COVID was going to be.
Exactly.
You know, how long it was going to be. You know, and you're hearing these people are passing away on a regular basis. Like, what is this business in comparison to people's livelihoods now?
Right.
You know.
Right. It was an interesting time. It was the pivot.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't ready to make the pivot. You guys were far better set up to make the pivot, and I feel like, but looking back, we were so precise and ready to do great things because we did, and this is the strength of just us. Like, collaboration was key. We identified that.
Yeah.
See, that's the other thing about it too. You may not know where you're going. You may not know what the final thing is going to end up and look like. I want it to be this. But if you've got people along the way who you can pass your ideas with and help you and help grow and talk about, because information, in many cases, information is more important than money.
For sure.
I mean, if somebody gave us a whole bunch, what was we going to do with it?
At the time,
You feel me?
yeah.
There was no way our business could continue.
Yeah.
Locking human beings in rooms.
Yeah, together.
During a pandemic,
Right,
together.
That's
Six people in one room. Boy, we breaking.
Well, every law out there right now.
Break
You know,
every law. So that was the moment when collaboration was key, working things out was key, but also assessing ourselves along with you guys in the strengths and weaknesses that we had. How can we continue what we're doing, and what has to go away to move us all, to move the boat forward? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Yvonne's a sailor. She's in the Navy. You know,
Right.
we may have to jettison we may have to lighten this boat.
Okay.
Keep it floating.
Okay.
Time is 8:59 a.m. So, Josie Mendoza Geller, good morning to you guys. Janice Collins, I so understand. We all need to support each other. This can make us stronger. Network support, join together. Great job, man. We appreciate you. Janice Collins, Bulldog Nutrition in Batavia. Come on.
All right.
See? I mean, this one's for you.
For sure. I got no coffee left, but this is.
Oh, you ain't got no coffee?
I drink coffee. I drinks the coffee.
Right. All right. Time is 9. So, last, give you the last word. The show ends on a positive note. Once again, September 29th, 6 to 8 p.m. Cotton Seed Creative Exchange, 64 South River Street, Project Management for Businesses. The show ends on a positive note. What is your message today to the people of Aurora?
That's a good thing. I would say, you know, something that I recently got exposed to was a book called Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And the message that I can take that I've actually adopted is, you know, right now is reality. You know, me being here with Curtis, me being here with anybody that's tuned in, this is the reality. You know, the next 5 minutes doesn't exist. You have goals, you know, set your goals, but enjoy the time that you have for right now, you know, and don't make things bigger than they are. Just address them as they are, and you know, nothing more, nothing less. And be as positive and in the moment as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well said. We appreciate our brother Stephen Thompson coming on to the show. This was a very special and important show for me. And I do appreciate all the support and love that the Cottonseed Creative Exchange has given to Good Morning Aurora since there was no Good Morning Aurora.
Sure,
since before Good Morning. Since Good Morning Aurora was just a crazy idea that this weirdo named Curtis kept calling me about. Like, yo, again with this dude?
Very proud of this guy. No, I'm very
it's
proud
Curtis
of
again.
But I'm very proud of this guy.
So, congratulations to our winner once again, Mariah Ortiz. She is the winner. She won our trivia question for today. Good Morning Aurora trivia continues every single Friday. For right now, you guys, don't forget Good Morning Aurora starts at a brand new time next week. We're going to be from 9 to 10 a.m. Starting next week. So get ready to see Good Morning Aurora an hour later. A lot of y'all could tune in now. I don't want to see nobody not watching. Nobody at all. Be blessed. Take care of yourself and each other.
Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.